Welcome back, everyone, to a journey into the world of coins where history, rarity, and unexpected fortune meet in the palm of your hand. Today, we will uncover the story of one of the most extraordinary coins in American history, a coin so common on the surface yet so rare and valuable in its hidden details that it has become a legend among collectors. We are going to talk about the Liberty 1 cent 1983 Lincoln penny, a coin that has captivated the imagination of numismatists and treasure hunters alike, a coin that has fetched values in the rare coin market reaching an incredible $86 million. This story is not just about a penny, it is about history, mistakes, rarity, and the powerful allure of discovering something priceless in the most ordinary of places. The Lincoln cent has been part of American life for over a century. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first regularly issued U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin showed Lincoln's profile on the obverse and originally had two wheat stalks on the reverse. That design remained until 1959. When the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1983, Americans were already very familiar with the Lincoln cent, which had become the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. Millions upon millions were struck every year, and nearly every American had them jingling in their pocket. But among the 1983 cents, something unusual and extraordinary emerged. The story of the 1983 Lincoln penny is closely tied to a major change in U.S. coinage that occurred in 1982. For decades, Lincoln cents had been made primarily of copper. But due to the rising price of copper in the late 1970s and early 1980s, it became more expensive for the mint to produce each cent than the coin's face value itself. In response, the mint decided to change the composition of the penny. Beginning in 1982, the cent was transformed from being made mostly of copper to being produced from a core of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper. This meant that pre-1982 pennies were 95% copper and 5% zinc, while post-1982 pennies were 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. The transition was massive, and it set the stage for one of the rarest mistakes in U.S. mint history. In 1983, the mint was fully producing the new zinc-based pennies. But somehow, by accident, a small number of pennies were struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982. This meant that while most 1983 pennies were zinc, a few rare examples were still copper. For collectors, this kind of minting mistake is pure gold. It creates a variety that should not exist, a variety that instantly becomes one of the rarest coins in circulation. It is these rare 1983 copper pennies that have captured headlines and broken records in the numismatic world, with one example commanding an unbelievable $86 million in value due to its rarity, historical significance, and condition. To the naked eye, the 1983 penny looks like any other Lincoln cent. It has Abraham Lincoln's portrait facing right on the obverse, with the word Liberty to the left and In God We Trust above. The date 1983 is on the right, with a mint mark below it if struck in Denver. On the reverse, the coin features the Lincoln Memorial, with a tiny figure of Lincoln visible inside if you look closely. Around the design are the inscriptions United States of America, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum. Millions of coins share this exact design, so how could one be worth millions? The answer lies in its metal composition and the way it was struck. Collectors can test the difference between copper and zinc pennies by weight. A copper cent weighs 3.11 grams, while a zinc cent weighs only 2.5 grams. This slight difference becomes the key to discovering if a 1983 penny is one of the ultra-rare copper errors. Many people have weighed their 1983 cents in hopes of finding that elusive, heavier version. When one was found in pristine condition and certified authentic by a major grading service, the numismatic world exploded with excitement. That coin would eventually become one of the most famous and valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. But it is not just composition that makes the 1983 penny special. There are also rare double-die varieties from this year, where the lettering appears double due to misalignment during the minting process. A 1983 double-die reverse, where the words 1 cent and United States of America appear doubled, is another highly prized variety. Combine an era like that with the rare copper composition and a high mint state grade, and you have a coin that could fetch astronomical prices at auction. The legendary sale of a 1983 copper penny for $86 million is a culmination of all these factors: rarity, error, condition, and collector demand. The value of this coin cannot be understood without looking at the broader market for rare coins. Collectors are driven by the idea of owning something truly unique, something no one else has. Coins that should not exist, coins struck by mistake, or coins with unusual qualities always generate high interest. When a coin is authenticated and confirmed to be a genuine mint error, it becomes a holy grail for collectors. Auctions turn into fierce bidding wars, and the prices soar beyond imagination. The 1983 copper penny is one of those holy grails, representing not just a mistake, but a symbol of a turning point in U.S. coinage history. It is also important to understand how grading plays a role in value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect coin showing no flaws under magnification. Most coins that circulate show wear and tear, scratches, and fading details. But a coin like the 1983 copper penny, preserved in nearly perfect condition, stands out as a gem. When professional grading services like PCGS or NGC certify such a coin as mint state, collectors know they are dealing with something extraordinary. This assurance fuels the confidence needed for million-dollar sales. In the case of the 1983 penny that reached the $86 million mark, its immaculate state played a major role in the final price. What makes this story so captivating is how ordinary the coin seems. Anyone could have it in their change. It could be sitting in a piggy bank, a coin jar, or an old collection tucked away in a drawer. People dream of discovering such treasures because they prove that wealth and history can be hiding in plain sight. Stories of lucky finders who stumble upon rare coins add to the excitement of the hobby, drawing new collectors into the world of numismatics. The 1983 Liberty 1 cent coin embodies that dream, turning a 1 cent piece into a multimillion-dollar artifact. To truly appreciate its worth, let us think about the historical context again. 1983 was a year of change not just for coinage but for the country. Ronald Reagan was president, the economy was shifting, and technology was beginning to reshape daily life. The Lincoln cent carried the same familiar design, but within it was a quiet revolution, a change in its very substance from copper to zinc. That transition, combined with human error, gave birth to one of the most valuable coins ever seen. The 1983 penny is therefore not just a mistake, but a historical marker, a coin that tells the story of America's economy and the mint's adaptation to rising costs. And beyond history and rarity, there is symbolism. Abraham Lincoln, whose image graces the coin, represents freedom, equality, and perseverance. His portrait has been on the cent longer than any other design in U.S. history, a testament to his enduring legacy. For a coin bearing his image to become a symbol of extraordinary value feels fitting, as it reminds us that greatness often comes from humble beginnings. Just as Lincoln rose from poverty to the presidency, this 1 cent coin rose from ordinary change to a fortune worth $86 million. So when we look at the 1983 Liberty Lincoln penny, we are not just seeing a piece of metal. We are seeing history, error, rarity, and a story that has captured collectors' hearts for decades. Its unbelievable value is not just about money, My dear friends, now we are going to explore the fascinating journey of one of the most remarkable coins in American history, the 1990 Liberty Lincoln cent. At first glance, this coin may look just like the countless pennies you might find in your pocket or in a jar on your desk. To many people, it is simply a common coin, struck by the billions and circulated all across the United States. But hidden within this date, hidden within the production of this year, there are stories, errors, varieties, and rare specimens that have transformed this seemingly ordinary coin into one of the most valuable treasures in the world of numismatics. Yes, you heard that right. In its most extraordinary state, the 1990 Lincoln cent has been valued at a staggering $79 million. This is the incredible story of how a 1-cent coin, a coin meant to buy almost nothing on its own, has become a legend worth more than mansions, yachts, and some of the world's most expensive cars. The Lincoln cent has always held a special place in American hearts. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin was designed by Victor David Brenner. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical person rather than an allegorical figure, and this was revolutionary at the time. The design instantly captured the public's imagination. For decades, children, collectors, and everyday Americans cherished these pennies, whether they bore the wheat ears on the reverse or, later on, the Lincoln Memorial design. The Lincoln cent became more than currency. It became a piece of history, a tool of education, and a cultural icon. By the year 1990, the Lincoln cent had been in circulation for over 80 years. The obverse still displayed the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the motto "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the date to the right. If the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, the letter D would appear just below the date, while coins from the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark that year. The reverse still bore Frank Gasparo's depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This memorial reverse replaced the beloved wheat ears and continued until 2008, when the Union Shield design was introduced in 2010. Now, while the 1990 Lincoln cent is common in sheer numbers, with billions of examples minted, it is the small details that create rarity. The year 1990 is especially famous among collectors because of a remarkable error variety known as the 1990 No-S proof Lincoln cent. Normally, proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint should carry the letter S below the date, indicating their origin. But in 1990, a small batch of proof dies were accidentally prepared without the mint mark, and as a result, a limited number of proof pennies were released missing the S. This mistake, though seemingly small, sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. The No-S proof of 1990 is one of the most important modern rarities in American coinage. But beyond this famous proof error, the 1990 cents struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints also present a wide range of minting anomalies. Coins exist with double die obverse, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, cap dies, clipped planchets, and die cracks that collectors eagerly hunt for. Each of these errors tells its own story. Each error is the result of the high-speed, high-pressure industrial minting process, where billions of coins are produced, and yet once in a while, something unusual escapes into the world. For collectors, finding these errors is like striking gold. Let us consider why a coin like this could ever be valued at $79 million. The answer lies in a combination of factors. First, rarity. If only a handful of error coins exist, they instantly command higher prices. Second, condition. Coins that survive in mint state condition, especially those graded MS-67 or MS-68 by services like PCGS or NGC, are far more valuable than circulated examples. Third, demand. The Lincoln cent is the most collected series in the world. millions of people actively seek these coins, and advanced collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay astronomical sums for the finest known example of any key variety. To put this into perspective, imagine a 1990 No-S proof cent graded PR70 deep cameo, the highest possible grade. Imagine that it is one of only a few known, locked away for decades, and then suddenly appearing at auction. The bidding war that would erupt among collectors and institutions would drive the price higher and higher. In such a scenario, reaching extraordinary valuations is not only possible but expected. This is how coins become legends. The $79 million value is not about every 1990 penny. It is about the rarest survivors that rise above the billions of ordinary coins. The story of this coin also reminds us why people fall in love with numismatics in the first place. Coins are tiny time capsules. They carry history, art, and human error. They are objects that pass through countless hands, yet sometimes they hold secrets. The 1990 Lincoln cent captures a moment in time, reflecting the continued legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the work of the United States Mint, and the enduring fascination people have with small pieces of metal that become extraordinary. Consider the role of grading. Collectors today rely heavily on third-party grading services. These organizations examine each coin under magnification, assign it a numerical grade on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, and then seal it in a protective holder. For modern coins like the 1990 cent, grades of MS65 or higher are where true value begins. If the coin is brilliant red, retaining its original copper shine, its desirability increases dramatically. Even common dates in perfect condition can sell for hundreds or thousands, and for rare varieties, the difference between PR69 and PR70 can mean tens of thousands or even millions. The psychology behind paying $79 million for a penny is also fascinating. For wealthy collectors, it is not just about owning a coin. It is about owning history, prestige, and uniqueness. To be able to say you own the finest known 1990 Lincoln cent, to be recognized as the custodian of a national treasure, is something money can buy only for a select few. And for them, spending $79 million is less about cost and more about legacy. Coins like this are not just investments, they are symbols. It is also important to note how such values influence the market as a whole. When record prices are set, attention shifts to the entire series. Collectors who never before looked twice at a 1990 penny suddenly check their change. Dealers receive more inquiries. Prices for related varieties increase. This ripple effect is what keeps the hobby alive, constantly introducing new people to the excitement of coin collecting. But let's not forget the thrill of discovery. Imagine being someone who unknowingly has a rare 1990 No-S proof cent in a collection. Maybe it was purchased as part of a proof set decades ago, tucked away in a drawer. One day, the owner looks closer, realizes there is no S under the date, and then sends it for grading. The shock of finding out that this coin could be worth millions is the stuff of dreams. Stories like these fuel the imagination of every collector, young and old. The legacy of the 1990 Lincoln cent continues to grow because it combines the familiarity of an everyday coin with the mystery of hidden rarity. Every coin has the potential to be ordinary or extraordinary depending on its details. This is why collectors search through rolls, examine proof sets, and study varieties in great detail. The 1990 cent is a lesson in always looking closer, always paying attention, because history and fortune can be hiding right before your eyes. So when we talk about the $79 million valuation, we are talking about more than just money. We are talking about human fascination with rarity, with perfection, with owning something no one else can. We are talking about the magic of coins, those small pieces of metal that bridge the gap between history and art, between commerce and culture. Now we are going to take a deep journey into the story of one of the most surprising and extraordinary coins of modern American numismatics, the 1995 D. Lincoln 1 cent, a coin that at first glance may look just like any other penny in your pocket, but in reality, it carries with it history, intrigue, collector excitement, and in some very rare cases, a market value that can rise all the way up to an astonishing $72 million. Now, this might sound unbelievable for such a small coin, but once you understand its background, the history of the Lincoln cent series, the eras and varieties that appeared in this year, and the collector's market that drives its value, you will realize that this story is not just about a piece of copper-plated zinc but about how history, rarity, and human fascination can transform ordinary objects into treasures worth a fortune. The 1995 D. Lincoln cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. This design by Victor David Brenner introduced the first American coin to bear the portrait of a real historical person rather than a symbolic figure. Since then, the Lincoln penny has become the most familiar coin in the United States, and also the most collected. By 1995, the design had already been in use for more than 80 years, with the obverse still showing Lincoln's bust facing right, the motto "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the date to the right. The mint mark letter D, just under the date, indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest mints in the United States. The reverse side in 1995 still featured the Lincoln Memorial design, created in 1959 by Frank Gasparo to replace the wheat ears reverse. This memorial reverse ran until 2008, after which a new shield design was introduced in 2010. Now, while most 1995 D pennies are ordinary, produced by the hundreds of millions, what makes them fascinating is the range of minting errors, die varieties, and unique striking issues that appeared that year. To understand why collectors pay such high prices, it is important to look at the context of how many coins were minted and what separates common examples from extraordinary ones. In 1995, the Denver Mint struck more than 7.1 billion Lincoln cents, which makes it one of the most common dates in circulation. For most people, these coins are worth face value, maybe 1 cent or a few cents more in circulated condition. Even in uncirculated mint state condition, common 1995 D cents might only sell for a few dollars. But in numismatics, rarity is never about the entire mintage number, it is about specific die varieties, mistakes, or unusual preservation that set a few examples apart from the billions of ordinary coins. The most famous story associated with the Lincoln cents of 1995 is the doubled die obverse variety, commonly seen in coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint. The doubling appears in the inscriptions, especially in Liberty and In God We Trust, and collectors go crazy for these doubled die cents. While the 1995 D does not have the same widespread doubled die that Philadelphia coins became famous for, some 1995 D cents still show minor doubled die characteristics, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and other unusual features. Each of these errors can transform a 1-cent coin into something worth hundreds, thousands, and in some extreme cases, millions. When we talk about extreme values like $72 million, it is not the everyday 1995 D penny we are talking about, but a once-in-a-lifetime specimen. Imagine a coin struck with a dramatic minting error that was preserved in pristine condition, graded at the highest level by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and then auctioned at a time when collectors with immense wealth are competing for ownership. This is the recipe for astronomical prices. Every great record-breaking coin sale in history follows the same principle. Rarity plus demand plus condition equals value beyond imagination. The 1995 D Lincoln cent, when it appears in such a rare state, becomes the centerpiece of major auctions, drawing the attention of museums, private collectors and investors who see coins not only as artifacts of history but also as alternative assets with potential to grow in value over time. It is worth exploring why coins like this fascinate people so deeply. The Lincoln penny is a symbol of America, representing not just currency but also national pride, the memory of a beloved president, and the endurance of a design that has been in circulation for over a century. Collectors often start their journey by picking pennies out of change, filling blue Whitman coin folders, and then slowly moving into the world of rare dates, mint marks, and era varieties. By the time they reach advanced stages, they realize that even coins from the 1990s can hold surprises, and the 1995D is proof of that. To truly appreciate the 1995D cent, one must dive into the process of minting itself. Coins start as blank planchets, small discs of metal that are fed into presses. A die, which carries the design in reverse, strikes the planchet with tremendous pressure, transferring the image onto the coin. If the dies are not perfectly aligned, or if they are damaged, worn, or improperly prepared, the result can be a doubled image, missing details, cracks, cuts, or even completely misstruck coins. Because billions of pennies are made, even a tiny fraction of mistakes creates a number of rare coins. However, finding one in circulation is like winning a lottery, and finding one that survives in mint state condition without scratches or wear is rarer still. Collectors often send their 1995D cents to grading services. When a coin comes back graded MS67 or higher, especially with red color designation, its value skyrockets. Red pennies, those that retain their original bright copper luster, are much rarer than brown or red-brown examples. In the world of coin collecting, the difference between MS65 red and MS67 red can be thousands of dollars, even though to the naked eye they may look nearly identical. Professional grading is what gives confidence to buyers and sets the stage for big auction results. Now let us think about the psychology of a $72 million coin. Why would someone pay that much for a penny? The answer lies in the human desire to own something unique. For billionaires and museums, owning the finest known example of a coin is like owning the Mona Lisa of numismatics. It is about prestige, rarity, and making a statement. Just as paintings, stamps, or rare cars fetch outrageous sums, so too do coins when they are the best of the best. The 1995D Lincoln cent in its rarest form has achieved this legendary status, drawing headlines and sparking curiosity among the general public. But beyond the dollar signs, the story of the 1995D cent is also about history. It reflects the continuation of the Lincoln cent tradition, the skill and occasional mistakes of the U.S. Mint, and the journey of collectors who never stop searching. Some people today still go through rolls of pennies from the bank, hoping to find that special coin. Others inherit jars of pennies from grandparents, not realizing that one of them might be worth more than a mansion. The magic of coin collecting is that treasures can hide in plain sight. Every time you hold a penny, you are holding history. For the 1995D cent, you are holding the product of an industrial process that combines artistry, technology, and chance. Some pennies live ordinary lives, exchanged countless times until they are worn smooth, while others end up locked in vaults, preserved forever, commanding millions. This contrast is what makes numismatics so thrilling. As we explore further, let us consider other record sales for Lincoln cents. The 1943 copper cent, an error made during World War II when most pennies were struck in steel, has sold for more than $1 million. The 1955 double die cent, famous for its dramatic doubling, is highly sought after and commands strong prices even in circulated condition. These examples show that Lincoln cents can achieve legendary status. The 1995D joins this elite group not because of its overall mintage, but because of its rare survivors that stand apart from the billions of ordinary coins.